relationship coach Matt Townsend is here to help us all find the balance between technology and relationships. But first, sort of a little tech check. You've come up with the top 5 ways you can tell you're a little too addicted to technology.
Yes, we call it jacked up. Number 5 ways to know if you're jacked up, okay? Number 1 way, number 5, is you call your kids to dinner using a mass email function on your cell phone, and everyone is already physically in the home.
Yes.
That means you're jacked up. Number 4 reason to know that you're jacked up with technology is your kids are too busy texting friends to worry about actually fighting with each other when you're on your long drives in the car.
Makes for a peaceful car vacation.
Yeah, I like that idea. You know?
Wouldn't that be great? 3rd way to know you're jacked up because of technology is you think that the quote, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, actually means that somehow your iPad, your iPhone, or your iMac actually makes you stronger and healthier.
Nice, okay.
That's pretty jacked up.
Number 2?
Number 2 way you know you're jacked up is your children only want to eat at training tables so they can phone in their orders. That's pretty jacked up.
Yeah.
That's what our kids always are. And the number 1 reason you know that technology, or way that you know that technology has taken over your life, is because you realize that those precious few moments of free quiet time that you used to enjoy in the bathroom have now been replaced with an excellent moment to catch up on your texting.
You don't need to elaborate anymore on that. That's
Say no more. Yeah. I wrote a book in my bathroom. I don't want to talk about it.
A little keyboard comes out of the wall there.
Exactly.
Like,
I don't even need a keyboard. This little BlackBerry.
Nice. Okay.
Good stuff, though, huh?
Really good stuff, but in all seriousness, this is a huge problem
for
a lot of people. I mean, they are too plugged in, right?
Techies hate them. Useless.
Now, those are 5 ways that we looked at that people can sort of do a little tech check.
Yeah.
Whether you qualify to those or not, or just otherwise, there are a lot of people who really struggle with this, and technology has taken over their lives.
Well, think about everything it's now encompassing. Everything is technologically based now. You can't even go through a car wash without some form of technology. You can't get your gas. Everything's about technology. So we've got 4 tips that are key. And I honestly, to me, I learned a ton doing this segment. They're not just good. They're great.
Okay.
And so they're online. There's a ton of information. We're going to have to fly through these, okay?
Okay.
So the first key to being able to balance technology in your relationships is to personalize every interaction. One of the downsides to technology is we tend to depersonalize and dehumanize. A lot of us love to text because then we don't have to talk to them. We don't have to engage people.
We're avoiding, right?
Now remember, all information has basically 2 components. It has a data component and an emotion component, a feeling component. If a lot of us just are only focusing on the data component, then we're depersonalizing our conversations.
But that's good, I think, a lot of times, because you can get to the point faster, you can move on, but do we leave out the personalization?
Well, then what do you lose? Then what you lose is the emotional side of this. Like, hey, so what's the address to the party? Text, text, text. So now I'm receiving data, but I'm not engaging. Hey, I'm excited to come to your party. That might be the emotional side.
Yeah.
What's the address to the party? There's some way that every time we communicate, my advice would be, find a way to personalize every message.
So we're talking to a person, not a computer.
You have to see a human being inside of every interaction. Inside of every email, you're addressing someone. And if you're not thinking about who that someone is, inherently the email will sound depersonalized.
So that's the key. Picture the person, not
picture
just
who they are, and
phone
find really a true way to feel a connection with this person. Have them in your head when you're actually thinking about it.
And here's a question I have. If you wouldn't normally want to communicate with that person, you wouldn't normally want to pick up the phone or see them in the grocery store, should you really be emailing them or texting them in the first place?
That's an interesting point. And one of my biggest rules is you cannot not communicate. So if I don't want to text you, believe me, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in the text. You're going to know I'm not interested in you because of how I transact. So it might be easier that you just start choosing not to if you don't have to text this person. And if you do have to text them, it might be better to at least know who you're texting and pay attention to. Okay? So that's the first point. Second point is you've got to prioritize what's important. One of the biggest problems with technology is it acts on you. You don't always act on it. Technology comes from the outside in, and long-term, healthy, loving relationships come from the inside out. If you want a relationship to work, you've got to go choose it. You've got to go work on it. You've got to go make it happen. It's not just enough to allow something else to interact on you. Think of how many times you've interrupted a call or a talk with somebody personal to you because of a phone call.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Let me take
Yeah, exactly.
And now what do I immediately say when I do that?
I'm not interested in you.
I just told you my priorities. You're second, even though you're here and breathing. Hello. Don't know who you are, but I'm going to go with this. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going with what's behind curtain number 1. I hope it's better than you. And we go there. So we're inherently prioritizing. So our goal is to always make a choice. When that phone rings, choose. Do I need the phone, or can I be with who's here? And I would literally start prioritizing. See every technology, every moment, every interaction as a choice to choose who to put first and what you're putting first. Otherwise, you're going to fall prey to what they call the tyranny of the urgent. And you'll be overtaken by urgency the rest of your life.
And that's a desperate feeling. I mean, no one wants to be in that situation where you feel frantically that you're having to give of yourself 5 different communication sources, to 5 different communication sources, so you've got to take control.
And then you die, and at your funeral, the only people there are the T-Mobile reps. And then you're seriously jacked up. So the third rule is you must, so notice they're all P's, right? Personalize, prioritize. The third one is to be present in the moment. I think one of the biggest problems we're finding with technology is it makes us so we're not present. How many times, I was just at my daughter's, she's running for student body office, and I was sitting, watching all of the stuff, and as soon as my daughter had performed, I immediately pulled out my cell phone and started working.
Oh.
That's
I wasn't
jacked up.
present. That is not,
You are jacked up.
see, she's using the terms. That's a compliment, thank you. That is jacked up, but we're not present. And if we're not present, here's the crazy thing. All of our experience, all of our relationships take place in the present. They don't take place in the past, and they don't take place in the future. Everything that we become, that we are about, takes place today, presently. And if you're presently so inundated in technology, you will miss the present. If you miss the present, you will kill your past in relationships. Make sense?
That's deep.
Be present. So one of the best ways to be present is to pay attention to it. Have you ever just driven somewhere and you're sitting at the light and you don't even remember how you got there? All of a sudden you're like in your car in the light. Okay.
It's like every day when you're going to work. It just happens.
So one of the best ways to do it is just pay attention to it. Where am I right now? Try to feel the moment right there. Try to feel the air on your face. Pay attention. I'm listening to the radio. Roll your window down. Be present in this car in this moment.
Just absorb it. For some people, I'm guessing that would mean completely turning off the technology.
Totally.
I mean, just getting rid of it altogether.
I'm a firm believer there's got to be some connection between all this interruptive technology and our ADD. And our attention deficit disorder, and our inability to focus and concentrate. I believe there's got to be. And I think we're only going to find out 10, 20, 30 years from now how big of an issue that is.
Yeah.
It's a big issue, okay? So the fourth and final one is to the principle of proximity, I call it. This is a pretty interesting kind of organizational development rule. The rule is simply this. We tend to feel closer, more united, more tight-knit with the people we are closest to in physical and spatial proximity. So here's the irony. We think we're connecting to thousands of people through Facebook, but we still don't feel super close to them because they're not in proximity. It's the people that are closest to you that you feel are in, that you feel the most tight-knit to and are part of your unit, part of your family. There's something about proximity that matters. There's something about being present. And if you've ever been in a business meeting where it was all done via like phone conferencing, you know what I mean. It's completely different to phone conference all these people in and not have the proximity.
It doesn't really work.
And
you know?
still feel like a team. It's totally different still. So one of the uses I would say for technology is use technology to create proximity. Use our technology to make sure we're getting together. Use our technology to make sure we're actually having together time.
So technology can help relationships. I mean, if it's used correctly, it can help bridge that communication.
If you're in charge of it, and if you personalize it, and if you're present, it could be a great tool.
But you're saying it can't be your only form of
It can't be your only form. At some point,
connection.
we need face-to-face, eye-to-eye.
Okay, that'll do it. And that'll, using the technology, improves the relationships, improves our communication.
And then at your funeral, you'll have hundreds of thousands of people there, and none of them will represent. Yeah, exactly.
Those T-Mobile reps will still be there.
They're great. And there's AT&T reps, too. There's Sprint, Verizon.